Vanyek, sipping black coffee to which he'd added rum from a bottle marked ink, looked at Schweik. "Our lieutenant rather shouts into the telephone. I heard every word." "You must know the lieutenant very well, Schweik." "We're hand in glove," said Schweik. "We've gone through a lot together. He relies on me. You heard him say that I must give the new Batman the once-over. The lieutenant won't be satisfied with any old kind." Colonel Schroeder's conference began with his announcement that their departure would not now be long delayed. He'd received information from Brigade that orders were expected from Divisional HQ. The men must be in a state of alert, and company commanders must ensure that no one was missing. Then he repeated everything he'd said the day before. He again surveyed military operations and said that nothing should be allowed to suppress fighting spirit and warlike initiative in the army. On the table in front of him was fastened a map of the battlefield with flags on pins, but all the flags were overturned and the front lines shifted. Pins with flags were lying about under the table. The whole battlefield had been frightfully messed up in the night by a tomcat which was kept in the regimental office. When it performed its own operations on the Austro-Hungarian battlefield, it naturally wanted to scratch and cover them over, so it tore out the flags and smeared the mess over all the positions. It stained the fronts and the bridgeheads and defiled all the army corps. Colonel Schroeder was very short-sighted. Officers of the infantry battalion watched with interest as Colonel Schroeder's fingers came nearer to these little mounds.
"From here, gentlemen," said Colonel Schroeder prophetically, moving his finger from memory towards the Carpathians. "From Sokal to the Bug," and he plunged his finger into one of the tomcat's little mounds. "What's this, gentlemen?" he asked in astonishment when something stuck to his finger. Captain Zagner answered very politely for all of them. "Probably cat dropping, sir." Colonel Schroeder rushed into the office next door, from where could be heard tremendous fulminations, together with frightful threats that he'd make them lick up everything the cat had done. The cross-examination was brief. It was ascertained that a fortnight ago the cat was brought to the office by the youngest writer, Zwiebelfish. Once this had been ascertained, Zwiebelfish packed himself up lock, stock and barrel, and the senior writer took him to the guardhouse, where he'd sit until further orders from the colonel. That, in fact, ended the conference. When Colonel Schroeder, crimson in the face, returned to the officers, he simply said, "I request you, gentlemen, to be in a state of alert and to await my further orders." The situation remained unclear. Were they going or weren't they? Schweik, at the telephone in the office of the 11th Infantry Company, heard various pessimistic and optimistic opinions. The 12th Infantry Company telephoned, claiming that someone in the office had heard that they were waiting to do some shooting practice at movable targets, and that they'd only leave after gunnery practice under front conditions. This optimistic view was not shared by the 13th Infantry Company, which telephoned that Corporal Havlik had just returned from the town and had heard there from a railwayman that the trucks were already at the station. Schweik stayed at the telephone with true devotion, and his answer to all questions was that nothing definite was yet known. Then came a series of telegrams which Schweik took after a lengthy period of misunderstanding. First there was a telegram about those who were inoculated and those who weren't. Then there was the delayed telegram about the tins, which had already been cleared up. Finally, there was a telegram to all battalions, companies and units of the regiment as follows. Brigade Order No. 172. Regarding the running of field kitchens, the following order must be observed in listing articles of consumption. 1 meat, 2 tins, 3 fresh vegetables, 4 dried vegetables, 5 rice, 6 macaroni, 7 groats and semolina, 8 potatoes. Schweik read this to Quartermaster Sergeant Major Vanyek, who declared that, as a rule, telegrams like this are thrown down the toilet. "Some bloody fool on the army staff has thought that one up. Now it's going round all the divisions, brigades and regiments." Then Schweik received one more telegram, which was so quickly dictated that he managed to get down on the notebook only what sounded like a cipher. As a result of more detailed, it has been permitted, or the same can, on the other hand, nonetheless be supplemented.
This is all pointless, said Vanyek,
when Schweik was frightfully puzzled by what he'd written and read it out aloud 3 times in succession.
Sheer stupidity, although God knows it could be in cipher. But in the company we're not equipped to receive cipher. You can throw that one away as well.
The telephone rang, and a hoarse voice from the machine-gun section again asked whether they'd be going. There was a rumour that there was to be another conference with the colonel the next morning.